waiting for this to connect. Okay, we're ready, and we begin in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Star Trek Club. Tis I, Captain Logan, and to my right is Brandon Grimm.
Yes, hello.
And to my forward is Adam Meredith.
You're 10
Hello.
Forward?
He's not even in 10 forward. He's still in the ready room.
No,
Still in the ready room.
He's been
10 o'clock.
He's
my
been
10
he's been broadcasting from that ready room for the last several episodes.
I know. Here. I'm in 10
Oh,
forward.
there you go. Now you're in 10 forward. We come to you live once again for more Star Trekking and more rejoicing. Tonight, we're going to be watching 2 episodes instead of one, so we're not going to do any trivia tonight besides Santa Replicator, which we'll do here in just a second. We're going to spin the wheel tonight on just 2-hour episodes. I have made a wheel of the episodes that people have asked for that are 2-parters in 2 hours. So it's every pilot plus a couple of other 2-parters, and I took the liberty of putting Menagerie on there just so that there's a chance of a TOS episode, because The Cage was on that list, but that is not a 2-parter, so I went ahead and also put the Menagerie on the wheel. Captain's prerogative, so that's what we did there. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel right this minute and find out what we're going to be watching a little bit later. Then we'll do a couple rounds of Stand Replicator, and away we go. So
I'm not used to there being that few slices on the wheel.
That's what it's going to look like if there's fewer things, Brandon. All right, here we go. And tonight we are indeed watching the Menagerie. Which
I love the Menagerie.
Not actually expecting to pop up, but that's cool. So yeah, I feel like I didn't, but I feel like I must have stacked the deck because that was not a thing that was on there initially and was not supposed to be. But yeah, there we go. So anyway, thanks for joining us live. If you're here right now, thanks for watching after the fact. If you're doing that, Tom just put in a $5 super chat. Thanks, man. He's still on a, it seems like a weekly basis throwing something on the wheel, but this time it is not a crappy Voyager episode. Tom asked for Resurrection from DS9. Adam, right off, do you remember which one that is?
I don't. What is Resurrection?
I don't know. I'm rusty on my DS9 titles, and I don't right away.
I'm bad on the one word episode titles in general.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm better at them with TNG, which is funny because a lot of those are the weakest. But yeah, and then he asks, "What is your favorite Return of a Dead character?"
Oh, that's when the Mirror Boreal comes.
Oh, is that Mirror Boreal? That one's great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually a really good episode. I'm looking forward to doing that. Cool.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite Return of a Dead character, Adam?
A Return of a Dead character in Star Trek. Oh man, I don't know.
I'm
favorite
blanking.
one, I guess, aside from Spock coming back. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it doesn't happen a lot. You know, there's kind of little loophole things here and there where you have, because like. That technically isn't even the Return of a Dead character, Resurrection, which is funny because it's called Resurrection, so much as it's a different version of a character coming back. So, yeah, I mean, if we can be looser with it, where it's just the return of an actor playing another version of a character, or some, you know, or like Tasha Yar or whatever, then it becomes easier to answer. But if it's like straight up, real, honest to God resurrections, there's not like. I don't know, does Wayun count? You know what I mean? Like, that's not really Resurrections. It's a different character every time, but it's clones, and you get to see the same guy play essentially the same character every time until the one that's Wayun that has more of a conscience. Yeah,
I feel like Kahless counts.
Kahless is an interesting answer.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be anybody's favorite, but then I'm having a hard time thinking of a lot of really good ones. Like, yeah, you might have stumped me on that. Like, you're right. Spock's the obvious, easy answer. It's certainly not. I mean, I don't usually go to this. It's certainly not Kirk from Darkness.
Oh God.
I'm not going to say that.
Blood.
It's probably not Trip with Sim. Well, that's not even really a resurrection, is it? That's just, yeah. And then there's a lot of weird Enterprise stuff. There's that whole thing with the repair station where you think that Mayweather is dead for a minute.
Oh yeah. Or like when they kill off Harry Kim and Deadlock, and then they give us alt Harry Kim for the rest of the show.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would pick that one because it's crazy and great. That's hilarious.
So I was leaning towards that one. But
Yeah.
There's also they brought that woman back from the dead in Voyager. She's found by that alien race that resurrects dead people.
She was like a crew member. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good episode too.
So
And O'Brien,
that actually might be my answer. I like that one quite a bit.
If we're gonna be loose with it, though,
is that the girl that was dating Harry Kim?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, and that was pretty good.
If we're gonna be loose with it, can you call like Scotty's retrieval from the transporter like back from the dead, kind of?
Sort of.
People thought he was dead. I guess you could say Kirk in the Nexus.
Kirk in the Nexus. Yeah, all of that stuff. There's a lot of like half-baked resurrections, but Star Trek's really good at generally keeping people actually dead. Busted Sim says it's got to be Yar in Yesterday's Enterprise. Yeah, if that counts, that would be way up there. Most
that's
assuredly.
about as good as Mir Bareil, right?
Well, and actually, no, I would say Yar is more of an honest-to-God resurrection because Guinan knows she's supposed to be dead. So it's like, well, you died. You're not supposed to be here. So, yeah, that actually, because somebody in the continuity knows that person was dead, that's a lot closer to an actual resurrection. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Loophole. But, yeah, that's pretty good. And then Matthew Bass put in a $5 super chat and said, "What is your favorite rule of acquisition?" By the way, here's $5. This has been, you guys don't know about this. This has been an ongoing thing the last couple weeks. We had a guy that was I think pretending to troll us really hard. Who was like saying mean things to us in super chats and then just saying, "Here's $5." So like, I think he left 4 or 5 $5 super chats that night, and it would just be like, "You guys suck. You're awful. Here's $5." And it was the best. We were just
the worst thing.
Yeah, we were just well, and it was really tongue in cheek. It was pretty clear that he was making fun of people who do that, because that's kind of a joke in the Captain Logan show. People who like will like give you money so they can call you out for things. It's hilarious, and yeah, so that's become kind of a running gag. That's why he said that. Matthew Bass, if you want to throw an episode on the wheel, you certainly can to accompany that super chat. I will be looking at the comments, so don't feel the need to put in another super chat for that. You've already earned it. Your favorite rule of acquisition? My favorite has always been the back-to-back piece is good for business.
Piece is good for business. Yeah.
They're both true. Now
that's the best one. That's what I was gonna say. It's easy to get confused.
That's yeah. It's like stun and kill on a face pistol. Try not to get those confused.
So I can't think of one off the top of my head, but just the fact that the Ferengi have that, like the rules of acquisition, it's so fitting of a thing for them. Like, I don't know.
I always thought it was fun that we just make them up as we go along.
A contract is a contract is a contract, but only between Ferengi.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Yeah, they get real jokey. So what was it like? It was like 285, right?
Something like that, yeah.
I used to know more of them, but those are the ones that come to my mind right away. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the questions, guys. We're going to go ahead and get into some standard replicator, and then hopefully put on our episode here in about, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. Okay, so guys, I am thinking of something that has to do with Star Trek. It's in my Captain-y brain, and we're going to... I know.
That's so crazy.
Mind blown. And we're going to start with Brandon this time, and folks in the comments, if you want to ask questions, just pay attention to what has been asked already, and help us narrow it down, and help these guys figure out what it's going to be. And if you guys in the comments get it right, we'll give you guys a turn. If you get it right first, you'll have the distinction of getting it right first. So, Brandon... go right ahead. Throw us a question, man.
Is it alive?
It is not alive. And we go to Adam. We're gonna start with a softball one. Go ahead, Adam.
Is it a more than one series?
No, it is not.
Is it?
We stumped Brandon already.
Is it technology?
It is indeed technology. Don't hurt yourself. Adam. Tom asked if it is technically, and then you just didn't finish the question. Adam.
Is it, and we said it was, I'm sorry, did you say it wasn't in more than one series?
It is not in more than one series.
Not in more than one series. Okay, is it in the Next Generation?
It is not in the Next Generation. No, Busted Sim, it is not necessarily dead. It might have never been living. Brandon.
In the movies.
It is not in the movies.
A movie.
Jason, is it in more than one episode? Absolutely. It certainly is. Adam.
Let me think here. Is it in the original series?
It is not in TOS. Nope.
Is it in Voyager?
It is not in Voyager. Guys, let me know tonight if the levels are off. We did a Batmosphere last night, and I was overpowered a little bit. I overcompensated, because when we started the show, Dan's was way low, and then I overcompensated it, and I played it back a little bit later, and I was like, oh, I got blown away in the other 2 hours and 10 minutes of that show. Let's see. Matthew Bass, is it a weapon? It is not in and of itself a weapon.
Last week we had the blunt force
Adam.
It's he asked if it was a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a weapon.
It is. That is not the main thing. It is not.
They're not the main thing.
Not just,
it's not his main attribute. Okay.
I will say it's not a weapon, or it's not just a weapon. Any way you want to take that. Go ahead, Adam.
Books are weapons.
Anything is a weapon. Is it in Deep Space Nine?
It is not in DS9.
Oh God,
It's
it's gonna be
Enterprise.
Enterprise.
It is in Enterprise. Do you have a gas branded?
We got down to the end.
Is it the Grappler?
It's not the Grappler.
The Grappler.
That's pretty great. That's pretty great. It is not a space station. It is not food-centered technology, Busted Sim and Tom. Jason, is it bigger than what people think Corbomite looks like? I don't know how big people think Corbomite is, but I would say...
Strange question.
I think you just watched that episode. I would say it must be bigger than that, whatever that is. Adam.
I would say depending on how much Corbomite one had.
Sure. That's fair too. I still feel pretty confident in saying even if you had a good massive Corbomite, this is probably bigger. But I don't know. Go ahead, Adam.
Is it? We said it's not a weapon, or it's not main attribute. It's not a weapon.
Solar Dragon, like I said, this is way softball. So even if you've not seen Enterprise at all, you still might be able to get this. Go ahead, Adam.
Is it found in sick bay?
It is not found in sick bay.
Is it on the Enterprise?
It is not on the Enterprise. No. It is not a shuttlecraft, Tom. It is not a uniform, David. I feel like I'm writing a Dr. Seuss book. Adam.
Is it Xindi in origin?
No.
No.
Is it from the Federation?
Mm-hmm. Busted Sim, is it hull plating and somehow offline? It is not hull plating. Jason, is it at least bigger than the engine in TNG? It is bigger than the engine in TNG. If you're talking about the warp core. Adam.
Did we ask if it's a ship?
No.
Is it a ship?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay then.
Are you ready? Are you gonna guess?
I don't have a guess yet. No.
All right.
I have to think about it.
Is this ship somehow related to Archer?
Yes.
Adam?
I have a guess. Is it the Columbia?
Nope.
Okay. Was Archer? Then my question is: was Archer on the ship before Enterprise? Or did he serve on the ship?
So what's your question? Did he serve
Did
on
Archer
this ship?
serve on this? That's my question. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
What a long way to get to
Brandon.
that question.
What a long way to get to this. I told you guys it was softball.
And I'm drawing a blank on other ships Archer was on. Is it directly previous to his captaining the Enterprise?
No. Okay, Solar Dragon's got it. Yeah, it's just the NX-01. That's all I was looking for.
Wow.
Just every now and again I'll go to something that softball.
Wow.
I was going so.
You guys just assumed it must be harder than that.
Is there
Wow.
a ship in first flight that I'm forgetting?
Sometimes, yeah, I don't think that had a name. Yeah, because it was just the Warp 5
type.
ship. Yeah, or was that the? I can't even. It's been so long. Was that thing trying to go Warp 3 or 4, or was it?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
You got us with an easy one.
You guys just needed to think more two-dimensionally in that case. Okay, let's do something a little bit harder. That might be easier for you guys. And we're going to start this time with Adam. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, is it alive?
Essentially, no. I guess the best way to answer that is it's one of those, it depends on who you ask questions. Brandon.
Oh.
So kind of, sort of.
Is it technology?
That gets existential, don't hurt yourself. I would have to put it in the realm of technology, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
And let's go to Adam.
Is it bigger than Worf?
No.
Does Wesley interact with it?
I don't believe so.
Okay, it's not
I'm
that. then.
almost positive that doesn't happen. Pretty darn sure. Going back to Adam.
Let me think here.
So it gives us a number of bits of information.
Look, Busted, it's not necessarily dead, okay? Sorry.
Is it in more than one series?
It is not more than one series, no.
So, I think based on the previous answer, I'm going to ask it anyway. Is it in Next Gen?
It is in Next Gen, yeah. Jason, is it in Season 3 of a show? It is in Next Gen. It is not in Season 3 of Next Gen, no. Adam.
Does it appear in more than one episode?
Yes. You guys will have to bear with Mikey. He's been in a mood this evening. Brandon.
Is it... Is it on board the Enterprise?
Sure.
Is it... Can I make a guess?
Yeah.
Is it the Enterprise's computer?
Nope. Busted Sim... Oh, I'm sorry. Solar Dragon. Is it built for a specific purpose? Sure. Adam.
Oh.
Is it a... I'm trying to think here.
I wouldn't have had a Vega Live answer for the computer, Brandon. Go ahead, Adam.
Is it bad? Malevolent?
No.
Oh. Well, that
Certainly
rules
not.
out. Then my next guess. Is it found on the holodeck?
Yes.
Oh. Found on the holodeck.
Okay.
You have a guess?
Nah. I mean, until you asked the malevolent question, I did.
Tom, is it Moriarty? It is not Moriarty.
It's kind of bad. So
and we go back to Adam.
Is it... Does this appear as female
Yes.
in origin?
Yes.
Is it the Moriarty's girlfriend, the Duchess, or what? I can't remember her name. No.
Do you know?
I don't remember the name of the woman.
Okay.
That is what we need.
The Countess Regina.
Regina Bartholomew. That's what we're looking for.
Regina.
Yep.
That's it.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
You came up with it. Well done. You got there. That's amazing. Good job. Okay, you guys want to do one more real quick?
Yeah.
Sure. Can you give me one quick second? My dog is
Sure.
scratching at the door. I'll be right back.
He's scratching at the door to 10 forward.
At the doors. I always love those. I want some of those in my house.
Just makes me want to do that crazy, like, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance thing. He's scratching at the door! Okay, I got one more thing in my brain, and we'll start this time with Adam, because he got the last one right, and this one should go pretty quick. Go ahead.
Is it alive?
Yes.
Let's go with that again.
Minute.
That narrows
Is
it
it a
down.
species?
It is not a species.
It's not a species. Is it a character in more than one series?
No, not in more than one series, no.
Is it in the movies?
It is not in the movies.
Does the character appear in more than one episode of a series?
Yes.
Ah.
It sure
Is
does.
this character main cast?
Not main cast.
Is this
No, Tom, it is not a plant.
Is this character a woman?
This character is not a woman.
Not a woman.
Is this character...
Mixing it up.
Is this character an alien?
This character is an alien. Absolutely. Not TNG.
Not TNG.
Solar Dragon. Go ahead, Adam.
Is this character in Deep Space Nine?
This character is in DS9, yeah.
Ooh. Recurring character.
Yes, Matthew, it is humanoid. Brandon. Yeah, recurring character in DS9, alien, humanoid, male.
Is this character related to anyone on board DS9?
No. I don't believe so. You mean like by blood?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. Adam.
He's not related to anyone on Deep Space Nine. Is this character a baddie?
Yeah.
A bad guy.
Yeah.
It's a baddie.
Yep, certainly so. Do you have a guess yet?
Is it Wei Yun?
It is not Wei Yun.
Not Wei Yun.
Is this character Cardassian?
Not Cardassian.
Ooh.
And they are humanoid.
Yep.
Here. Who could they be? Are they a Klingon?
Cinematographic. It is not Luther Sloan. I did Luther Sloan last week. And that guy's human.
Yeah.
Not Klingon.
Not Klingon.
Brandon. And we're almost at 7:30, so if you guys don't get it in 3 minutes, we'll call it.
Are the Jim Hadar humanoid or reptilian?
I mean,
humanoid.
both are humanoid.
Are they Jim
They have
Hadar?
arms.
It's not Jim Hadar.
humanoid. Humanoid means they have arms and legs.
You need 2 arms, 2 legs, and 1 head, and that makes you humanoid. That's about it.
So the
You could
corn
even
qualifies.
have a tail and be humanoid potentially. Yeah,
Okay.
certainly.
Imref.
If it can be played by a person in a costume and it doesn't have more than 1 head, I would call it humanoid. Generally speaking. Adam. Busted Sims got it. I'm going to give you guys each one more shot, and Busted Sims got it. So I'm not looking at the comments anymore, guys. No more questions there. 1 question from you and a guess. 1 question from you and a guess.
Is this person Ferengi?
Yes.
Is it Brunt FCA?
It is Brunt. Well done. You and Busted Sim both got it.
It was about the only alien form left that we could have gone to relatively easily.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple other things, but sure. I mean, you hit the major ones for DS9, certainly. Okay, let's go ahead and get right into the episode. What we're gonna do, let me see. Yeah, it's set up in 2 parts on Netflix, so we'll watch part 1, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll take a break for like 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll watch part 2. So we are looking at episode 12 of season 1 of TOS. It is the Menagerie, so go ahead and pull that up.
I love the Menagerie.
However you're going to watch it, we are watching it on Netflix, so this will be the remaster, and it's better to try to watch the same version we are because there's different cuts of all of TOS. So watching with remaster, it is 49 minutes and 28 seconds. There are versions that are shorter.
Alright, Menagerie.
Okay, Busted Sim, if we start before you're able to get rolling, since you got to grab your DVDs, just ask us for a timestamp and somebody will give you one.
Alright.
But we'll give everybody about 60 seconds or so. Are you guys good to jump right in the episode, or do you need a break? Are we good?
I'm good.
I'm fine.
Ooh, that whole thing makes me want to go to easier ones more often.
you really stumped us on that.
I mean, he's never gonna say Worf.
Right.
Is it bigger than
Is
Worf?
it bigger
No.
than Worf? No.
Sure not.
It's the same.
It's the size of Worf at any given point.
Or you could ask, you could come up with something like, is it an out-of-phase version of Worf from that one episode?
Hi, Snuffles. Good to see you. Yeah, episode 12, according to Netflix. They have it in the aired order there, I believe.
Yes.
I wish these places would stop doing stuff in aired order. I wish it was production order more often.
Yeah. Oh, especially with something like this, because back in the day, they did not care about what order they aired it in. They just pick random order episodes to throw up.
That's true of nearly all of television if you go back to the 60s. And then after that, It's not as true unless you're talking about the Fox network, and then it's true going all the way up nearly. Yeah. We've been talking about this on the channel a lot lately, so pardon me if you've heard me talk about this before, but these guys haven't. The big one, well, maybe Brandon has. The big one is Batman the Animated Series, and HBO Max has that in aired order, and you should never have that in aired order. That's the last thing on the planet. I don't know any other example of a show that did this, but they aired episodes in between two-parters in that show. So the first episode of that show that was aired was Cat in the Claw, which is already a weird episode to start with. The introduction of Catwoman, because that world feels very established already. It's weird. And then you get 7 episodes in between Cat in the Claw 1 and Cat in the Claw 2.
Oh my.
It's very strange. And they did that several times. Yeah.
Well, what if you had a button where you could toggle between the two?
And Jason, you're right. X-Men is the worst. Sarah suggested that when I told her about that. Yeah, like why couldn't you just have a thing that lets you go aired order or production order? And what I wish we could have with some of these services, I'm surprised none of them that I know of seems to have done this yet. I also think it would be cool if you could make playlists of episodes like you can make playlists of songs in Spotify of like any show. Like, wouldn't it be neat to do to have like a party play sort of thing? You could do this on YouTube. Yeah. Like, why can't you do this with episodes in Netflix or in HBO Max?
You could put together like a best of this actor, like best of list.
There's all kinds of cool things you could do. Yeah, well, and the thing is, some of the streaming services will put together playlists like that where they come up with it. But why can't you do it?
Right.
I don't know. That'd be awesome.
Next $1 million idea, Cap. Get some rights to some shows. Put out that streaming service.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be worth anything. But I just wish some of those places would start doing that. Okay, so I hope everybody's got the Menagerie pulled up. I tried to stall for just a little bit. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Brandon, when was the last time you saw the Menagerie?
The last time I saw the Menagerie, well, it's going to have been several years at this point.
Long time.
I would say probably in our old club iteration.
And Adam, this is one of your go-tos, right? You probably go back to this all the time.
Yeah, I like the Menagerie. I just think it's really neat how they were able to use Roddenberry was able to get his pilot on the air after all and stuff, basically.
And essentially tell 2 compelling stories at the same time.
Right.
Because this should watch like just a clip show. It doesn't. The Spock story is very good.
Right.
All right, here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. Ba, ba, ba. And oh no, this is the ba 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 ba. Man, I'm wrong every time. Like,
I love the Starbase.
The new map paintings are great.
Yeah,
that's really
episode.
neat.
I like them a lot. It's weird though because it looks like in a cool way. It still looks really fake. It looks like they're on a stage and somebody just put that behind it. But then you can see people walking in it, and that's weird.
Right, that's cool.
I like that sculpture. Very futuristic.
See, you say that, but I feel like we had sculptures like that in downtown Lawrence.
Well,
yeah,
they were futuristic
they just
too.
Buy that. They bought that, Brandon. They went to like Van Nuys or something and bought that from some artists or something.
Oh, Busta Sim, I'm glad I stalled out just long enough for you to be able to get your disc together. That's great. Wow, Netflix changed its subtitles to be crappier. They didn't used to have black behind them, but now they got black behind them.
Black box.
What is happening? I hate that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all gonna have to stop now and go to something different. I can't deal with these subtitles. I'm kidding. That was a joke.
Yeah.
So this goes without saying, but for folks that aren't super familiar with this, watching this in the first place, you wouldn't have known who Pike is, of course. This is the introduction to that character in the first place for the show, because the Cage isn't just the pilot, it's the unaired pilot, and it was not part of the sequence. It doesn't show up until way later syndication. You don't even get it in the 70s, yeah.
And I don't remember, they didn't, and when they first put it in the syndication package, it may have been the black and white print. They might not have even had the color. I don't even know when the color print of the Cage turned up. I'm not certain. But I think it was at least the 80s.
Oh, is that right? They didn't even have their hands on it. Interesting.
Yeah. I think it was the 80s because I think they put it on, like, Laserdisc or something like that.
The only thing that's weird about watching it about putting the cage back in the sequence and thinking of it as fully canonical is that you see a couple of scenes that are repurposed for to do different things in the Menagerie from what they were used for in the cage. Right. So, like, it still technically works, but it's just kind of awkward because you're, especially at the very end, when you're watching Pike, like, walk back up with Vina. It's totally repurposed. It's there for a different reason.
Right.
I haven't seen this in maybe a year or two. I have seen this on the big screen. This was, I think, the first Fathom event.
Oh, really? I think I missed that.
That did TOS. When they were doing the remasters, they put this out. And that was a big deal. I kind of remember. Because I'd never seen anything like from television put on a big screen like that.
Yeah.
And it held up wonderfully.
Yeah. Single tone.
Bold move, Spock. Paid off.
Jason says the color version of the cage was in the 80s, and it came out between seasons 1 and 2 of TNG.
Wow.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't either. I guess I'll take my 10-year-old's word for it. I'm sure you just looked that up. So, of course, the chair is classic. This is one of those, like 12 things that you'd remember from the show if you were a casual viewer of this. It was one of the things that got into the cultural zeitgeist.
Right.
The 2 beeps was, maybe not right up there with Beam Me Up, Scotty, but it was in there.
Right.
1 for yes, 2 for no.
I feel like they could have maybe, with their technology, done something better for this poor man.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it's so futuristic. Yeah, that feels ultra primitive.
It feels a little conceited.
It's one of those things that works wonderfully well in the narrative because it makes you feel more for that guy. It feels more tragic what's happened to him. And also, the story doesn't work as well if he is able to communicate any better than that. If you can only answer yes or no question, if he's able to actually communicate of his own volition better, I'm not sure if the story works.
We wouldn't buy him wanting to go live the fantasy life as much as you would him being literally just trapped in this chair with.
Well, you'd also wonder why he's not just coming out explaining things to people.
That's true. Yeah.
But with some of the other technologies we've observed.
Jason says he knew that from a research project he did on Star Trek. I don't know if you guys have seen the big board he made. He did a timeline.
I have seen that.
For a independent study I did with him.
Interesting.
I should take a picture of that and post it on social media.
Look, it's a night shot. That looks great.
That's awesome. And the planet looked really pretty. And yeah, again, this looks really good on a big screen. We got stuff moving in the background outside.
Yeah.
You didn't get that before. I remember always thinking this was one of the best episodes in Remaster.
Yeah.
And just look how vibrant the colors are and stuff. It's pretty.
And it's just it felt really big. Like this episode's always felt kind of big. As far as like a world building, just kind of way, it's always felt kind of big to me. And it's interesting. This episode, at least in the production order, it comes right after Court Martial, either right after or right before. And that takes place on the exact same Starbase 12.
Which is weird because they're both court-martial episodes too.
Right, it's true. Yeah.
Because isn't the second part of this episode like putting Spock on trial for a court-martial?
Right.
I have not seen this in a while, but I'm pretty sure that's the courtroom scenario.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Yeah. So this computer room is just the engine room, obviously.
Yeah.
With some more stuff put in it.
It still looks just.
Honestly, I think I always thought for some reason that was still on the Enterprise, but it obviously isn't.
I think this is the Starbase, computer lab. Or whatever.
That's really funny.
Put an extra table there and
put some more things sitting on the ground.
Is that supposed to be a schematic of the station on the wall, or is that something else? Like, what is that? It just looks like a big circuit board?
It's just a random circuit board. I think it's just the thing from the engine room.
It's there in engineering. I mean, it's like an integrated circuit.
Yeah. It's got your relays on it, right, Brandon?
What's that?
You got your relays on there, right, Brandon?
Yeah.
I've always thought if Adam West Batman showed up on the Enterprise, he would just immediately understand how to work everything.
the Enterprise bat computer.
Looks like the bat,
yeah, the computers look exactly the same.
Computer.
He's even got some of that grading stuff in his bat cave.
I love that grading. The hexagonal one.
Very 60s.
Oh, I bet you did.
He's like, ooh. Uh-oh. He got a reputation, Kirk.
This is another thing we always do in courtroom and or like going off to a space station for a while episodes. You always open with the girl the captain hasn't seen in a while that he had a fling with.
Yeah.
We do that in court martial, but we also do it in like Measure of a Man and like I don't know why it shows up a lot. There's always a love interest in these.
Yeah. That room's really purple.
I know. It's more purple than my background.
Yeah. He's got those cool lights.
Yeah, I've got TOS lighting going on.
He can change the... I wonder if that plant likes purple lights.
I think it's also really cool that Pike in the chair is hardly a performance. So you got a guy that's just sitting there with like,
it's not even a guy. It's actually a woman.
Oh, is it really?
Pike.
I didn't know that. Like, and I don't want to take anything away from that performance. I mean, like, you know, there's sort of something going on behind the eyes, but it's a really nice juxtaposition between like where he's at in his, you know, like nigh, they think anyway, vegetative state versus when we actually get to see the hunter stuff.
Right.
Burr, burr, burr. There it is.
There it is.
Troubleshooting.
Now finally we're on the Enterprise, even though I feel like we've already been here.
Why is the Enterprise flying off by itself?
Well, that's a good question.
I don't know. They must have explained it. I don't know. And who is this rando?
I feel like at this point in the series we hadn't quite nailed the lighting on the bridge. Like sometimes it looks really good and sometimes it's a little too muted.
They shift a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Coloration.
Here it is just not even enough. Well, I say even enough. The shadows are just not in the right place, right? Because like it doesn't have to be that even TNG kind of bridge lighting. Because very often we do a lot of shadow stuff in the bridge. You know, the famous like close up on the face with the shadow under the ice thing we do on the bridge all the time.
Right.
Like, you don't get that would never make any sense if it was even TV lighting.
Right.
Spock just took 2 punches and nothing.
They slapped that guy.
Yeah, it's a really exciting episode or opening to an episode because it's the last thing you expect to see Spock do.
Hansen, who the hell are you, Hansen?
I don't know. There's a lot of Hansens in Star Trek, though.
Hansen.
Busted Sim, because this has the cage in it, I'll throw Where No Man Has Gone Before up. Cool, thanks, man. Let me get that on the wheel and just confirm that it's not already there. That is the second pilot. Have we already done that one? I don't think we have.
I don't think we ever did.
I need to go back and make that master list. I still haven't done that.
Spock's going through a lot of trouble for this, and it seems very out of character.
Well, yes, that's intentional. And that's why I'm saying it's exciting. It's like, we don't know why he's doing this.
Yeah.
And then, I don't mean to just keep commenting
Kirk's
on color, but now Kirk's got this weird, like, gradient on his door.
Yeah. That's cool.
I like it.
Kirk, stop. You're watching this guy. That's weird.
I've never had this thought before, but is it going too far, Adam, to say that, and they might not have been thinking of this, but that the opening of Brothers feels like a bit of a callback to this?
Yeah. I can see that.
Where you have a main character that kind of commandeers the ship and forces it to go somewhere, and you don't know why we're doing that.
Right.
Because, again, it's been a while, but isn't that what's happening right now? Spock's, like, rigging the ship so that it has to go back to...
Yeah, he's going to basically steal the Enterprise, and they have to chase him in a shuttle.
That's right. Yeah, and so he's going to force them to go to Talos 4, which famously is a place that is forbidden, and the only thing
Under
that can get
penalty
you
of
the death
murder.
penalty in Starfleet and the Federation. Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. It's the only death penalty on the books.
Snuffles, that's a really good point. She's saying that they should just use Morse code. I think she's referring to with Pike in the chair.
Yeah,
you can communicate a lot more.
Code, yes.
The simple
Heck,
fact.
they have a less primitive system in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, with the bell. That guy's in Star Trek. Did you know that, Jay?
I don't remember.
He is. He's in A Matter of Perspective.
Oh yes,
He is
yeah.
the scientist.
He's that old guy that gets murdered.
Get murdered, yeah.
That, spoiler alert, we find out he did it to himself on accident because he's an
He did it to
idiot.
himself. He's an idiot.
Yep. No, that is who that is. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Is that Salamanca in
Yeah, Salamanca.
Breaking Bad?
Hector Salamanca.
Hector Salamanca, yeah. But I'm not just talking about with the bell, because that feels like a callback to this, and those guys are huge Star Trek fans, so it probably is. But I'm talking about just with, like, the board that the lady reads the rows of the letters. Why aren't they doing that with Pike?
Yeah.
It's like row A, B, C, oh, C. And then, like, why don't they do that with Pike?
Right. That's something they just do, yeah. Now. That's
Yeah,
like a
they do
normal
that now.
treatment
We have a
for stroke
system for
victims.
this.
Right.
So that's just some ignorant writing. Like, they would have had a system for that then, too, I'm sure. But again, it's an easy gimme because the drama's so good.
Look at that cool binder.
Buzz and Sim, Stephen Hawking had a better system by the late 20th century.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sure. And also, if they can communicate with a computer, and the computer can talk, I don't know why you can't rig up something for a person.
Right.
Maybe it's harder if you can't type, I guess.
What was that
really
thing
cool
that
how
broke
that
that?
just
It
opened
cut
with
it
that
open or
magnet
whatever.
thing.
That was cool.
That's a neat prop. I'd love to have that.
Yeah. Top secret.
I'm sure somebody has recreated that
Made
prop.
that up. Right.
That's neat, though.
Look away for a minute and he's gone.
This is one of the first times that we see different insignia on Starfleet officers because they're not on the Enterprise. We always think of the chevron, the star emblem as Starfleet, but it's really just the Enterprise. Different ships and different stations all have different things. And then later on, they just make it because it's so iconic. When we get to TNG, it is the thing everybody has.
Everybody has.
But even
by the movies, everyone uses it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the first time we get that, though. I feel like there's an episode even before this that does it. Where we've got another ship. I can't remember.
That whole thing was
like Doomsday Machine has it. I'm trying to think of other examples, but
yeah, Doomsday Machine has it. The really bad one. Oh God, I can't think of it. Omega Glory.
Does Omega Glory have it?
Yes.
I mean, really, anytime you have a sister ship.
Right. You know, they were trying to almost do like a NASA thing. You know how each NASA mission has its own unique patch and stuff. That's kind of like what they were trying to do with each ship, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's interesting because Enterprise does it.
Yeah.
Because they've got the ship patches, which is one of the classiest things they did with that. We've talked about this. I love everything about that uniform except for the fact that they've got rank pips too early. Yeah. But everything else is wonderful.
Right.
I see that you're signaling no. God, you guys are cavemen right now.
This thing must be broken.
Just don't ask me questions. Okay, and then I mean that's what it's different from Brothers because Kirk's behind him.
Right.
Two beeps, two yeses.
No, that's a fake.
no, Brandon.
That's a fake Kirk voice, though.
Oh, is it? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's just been too long since I've seen this.
It's all fake. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's exactly like Brothers because
exactly
Data
like
does
Brothers.
Picard's voice in that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost didn't say that. I just could not remember where Kirk was in all of this.
Yeah, Kirk doesn't have any clue what's going on.
Yeah,
He didn't know the
right.
story. Spock never told him, I guess, what happened on Talos 4.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed in some of the things I'm not immediately remembering about this. Just 'cause, again, it's been a while.
Well, and when he introduced that book to Kirk, he's like, only two people know about this, and it's Captain Pike and the half Vulcan.
I feel like they're
Spock.
never gonna catch up with him in this. Look at it.
Yeah, and even though this is the remaster, you could still see vaguely the starfield behind it. So did they not remaster the shuttle?
No, they remastered the shuttle. They just made it look like it did in the original, where it was going real
That's
slow.
dumb. That's dumb. If you're gonna remaster it and you're gonna replace it with a visual effect, why on earth would you not at least like bring the opacity up?
I think they're just trying to make. I mean, I think they were trying to make it look like they were never going to catch him.
But they're really inconsistent with it. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the way ships move in TOS, that could have been warp speed for all you know.
Yeah, I think it was warp speed. I just think it was a slow warp speed.
Yeah, they did mention
this is warp speed.
It's all relative, really.
Yeah. Yeah, so they got to be going at warp, just slow.
Is that a license that you would have been okay with their taking? If, like, the only major thing they changed visually was when they go to warp, we actually have stars moving at a clip? Because I would have been fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's some instances in the remaster where they do move really, really fast.
Really?
The stars, they just don't have the streaks or anything. They're just going...
Well, I don't need the streaks, but it's just, it should move fast. And
yeah,
like, anytime they say...
Like,
well, and they're inconsistent with TOS because there are times, of course, where the ship, like, flies across the screen.
Yeah.
But anytime we're going to warp. It should look like we're going to warp. I don't know.
So this shuttlecraft has passed the point of safe return, so that means it's just not like a very capable craft in and of itself at all.
Yeah.
I still don't get how
They're out of
shuttlecrafts have
fuel.
warp drives, but...
They got a little teeny tiny warp core.
Okay.
RHIP. Rank has its privileges. That's a good one.
I don't understand why they need air tanks, though.
I mean, we do that kind of thing a lot in TOS. We like to go to old-fashioned biblical language.
I wonder what that little
because it wouldn't just be a court-martial. It would be, if Spock loses, he gets the death penalty.
Death penalty, right. This is...
And then the question is, would Starfleet actually follow through with it?
Yeah, it seems pretty crazy to put that.
Pretty crazy. And, like, retroactively, when you look at all the other insane things that happen in TOS, Talos 4 is, like, maybe in the middle of, like, scary, dangerous places.
Right.
You'd think that we'd have the death penalty for all kinds of places.
All kinds of stuff, right.
Anytime there's, like, a big artifact in space that, like... can download you with some kind of, like, other consciousness or, like, messes up your ship or whatever.
Right, anything. Yeah.
You think all those things would be, like, forbidden. No one can come around here.
The whole
we tend to just put up a beacon and warn people.
Yeah.
We don't give them the death penalty.
Right.
Why do we do that with Talos 4? Just put out a beacon. Stay away from here.
Like the whole, what are they called? The Fesarius and Balok from in the Corbomite maneuver.
Yeah.
Don't mess with those people ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Sir?
But yeah, you got this Hansen, and then you got J.P. Hansen in Best of Both Worlds, and then you got Annika Hansen and her parents, the Hansens. But no brothers playing in a pop band. That never happens.
No.
Somebody earlier asked where Sulu is. That's a good question.
Yeah, he's not in this episode.
Is he not at all? Not in the second part?
No, I don't think so. Which is weird. Where's Scotty? Have we seen Scotty? He should be in this too. I don't know where he is.
We haven't seen.
No, but so far we've only seen engineering as some other place that's not here.
Right. But I feel like he should be the one that Spock puts in command if he relieves himself of duty or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I think they didn't want to pay these actors this week because we're just doing a frame story or whatever. So they're like, we don't need you.
Well, no, he's there.
Scotty.
He's
right
people.
there. Never mind.
Yeah, well,
just one shot.
Here's the thing. If you were right about that, I would counter that with a couple of things besides, hey, look, there's Scotty. The first is we did build some sets at the beginning of this. And second of all, we haven't done one frame yet of the cage. And we're already like, what, 25 minutes in? Do we see any of it in the first part, or is it all in part 2?
It's in, I think they have some of it in the first part. The Hound does not respond. Nope. Now everybody's gonna die if they go there. What is that? Spock?
It's some alien version of a Russian doll. If you pop that open, there's like 10 smaller ones inside.
Oh, man. It's a nesting thing?
Yeah, it's a nesting doll. It's full of tinier men.
So he's going to tell
Whoa,
us.
they got a camera angle there on the Spock's watching on the video.
If you go to Talos 4 under duress, are you still susceptible to being killed? Would they just...
That's a great question.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, because you've seen it now, and it was the only planet with a death penalty associated with it.
I couldn't tell you.
You're kind of SOL at that point.
I think that's what they imply here later on.
Busted Sim, does anyone have a headcanon for the reason technology looks the way it does in TOS? I don't need a headcanon for that until you go retroactively, and then until you go forward and you start making things look nicer farther in the past, which is why you either don't do prequels in Star Trek, or you don't extrapolate from the time now that you're going. You continue to extrapolate from the 60s. You kind of have to be consistent. So, like, I never had any problem with it moving forward, because it's just the technology gets better. There's an evolution. So, like, this into the movies, not difficult for me to go back to this. Like I have to, you know, have some headcanon thing for, oh, it's cardboard sets. Like, nah, the technology got better. Now I have to have a headcanon the other way. I have to pretend like the NX-01 looks worse than it does.
Right.
He says, mine is just that technology like this is more accessible for various alien races until visual technology can be better adjusted to alien needs. Yeah, I don't know, it's just we're extrapolating from the 60s. This looked futuristic back then.
Yeah.
For me, it's just the internal logic of Star Trek. It's not the history of our future, it's the history of it's the history of the future according to 1966 in the first place.
That's good.
We got that bell out.
I really like the dress uniforms in TOS.
Yeah. But nobody has them on except for them.
Well, I think that's just because they're officiating.
I guess so, yeah.
And I guess Spock has to wear it because he's the defendant.
Yeah, they have the money.
Okay, this is a place where you're perfectly in your rights to say they don't want to pay for things. That's clear.
Whoa.
It's also just cool that
TV.
It's also just cool that you can't imagine yet this far into the episode why Spock is doing this, because we don't know anything about his history yet with Pike.
Right.
And it's gonna be kind of neat. Like I like to imagine myself as a viewer back then. I'm not expecting all the footage that we're getting. I don't know where it came from, and nobody would have been savvy enough about television probably to even guess, oh, there was another pilot.
Nobody would have known that. it wouldn't have come out until they like had like probably the earliest anybody would have found out about it was probably like the Making of Star Trek book that was written in the 60s or whatever.
That's right.
You know.
Now, as far as I know, I could be wrong about this. Didn't they I haven't looked into the remasters in a while. Didn't they remaster Menagerie before they did The Cage? So they remastered like these sequences separately, and then later they had to go back and do the rest of it.
I think they might have done it, yeah, like that.
Which is weird, but I think the Menagerie was.
I think The Cage
not one of the
may have
earliest
been
ones
one of
they
the
did,
last.
but.
Right. I think The Cage may have been one of the very last things they did.
Well, I think Menagerie was pretty late, too.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I saw that in a theater, I think, after I got married. And they had been doing the remasters for at least 2 years before that.
Yeah.
And they didn't do them in any kind of order. It was totally random.
Right. It was totally random. The first thing I saw was, like, Arena or something like that. That was one of the very first ones.
It might be fun to go back and watch them in remaster order at some point. For no other reason than they released it that way and there's no clear logic to the choices. Although I would say it's kind of smart to, like, sprinkle in Season 3 instead of getting to it, because I imagine the network was thinking, well, we're going to lose all of our viewers by the time we get to Season 3.
There's that Starfield on the screen. It's mirrored image.
Yep. That's how they did in The Cage, and that's how a lot of sci-fi movies were doing that at that point. There's weirdly a big difference in visuals and technology and stuff, even between like 1962 and 63 and the mid 60s.
Yeah.
Like you can very much tell that The Cage was a product of earlier 60s and TOS is a product of 66. And you wouldn't think that there's that much of a difference. There really is.
They were really going for a like Forbidden Planet look, I think, with the Cage and stuff.
Well, and Star Trek is heavily influenced by Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
But you're right, the graphics and everything, and even the more drab outfits and all of that
right.
stuff.
There's actually more color on the bridge than I remember in the consoles and screens and stuff. Stephen Murphy, if you watch... Oh, this is a good question. If you watch Where No Man Has Gone Before and The Cage back-to-back, how would they compare as pilots? After watching The Cage, do you see it being picked up as a show, or were they smart to change it? No, they were certainly smart to change it. There were things that the network wanted that I've always seen as kind of silly and maybe unreasonable, but they were spot on about Pike. And I think that character could have come into his own and gotten interesting as time went on, but I don't know that it would have found the audience the archetype of Kirk did.
Oh, that was interesting.
And honestly, the reason why Pike got left is because apparently Jeffrey Hunter had like a very controlling stage wife.
Yes.
They didn't want him in television.
She didn't want him in television. But if memory serves, I think the network also wasn't sure about
They weren't that into look at that TV.
We should have commented on it, but the way they remastered the effect of the now digital Enterprise at the beginning of The Cage going into the bridge looks really pretty. Yeah. And I was always really impressed with that effect from 64.
The old one, yeah.
Because it's crazy they even tried that. And that's like the first thing you see. And in that episode, and go back and watch the original, just put yourself in the time and place. That is ambitious stuff that you would go from outside the ship with a camera and go into it and try to seamlessly get us into the ship. It's cool. What they do here, where you actually go through the glass, that's neat.
That's cool. Right. So we were wondering, the Menagerie 1 and 2 aired in the 18th and 25th of November 2006. And the Cage
way earlier than I thought it did. Okay,
and
so I wasn't married yet.
The Cage didn't air until May 2009. So it was almost like
I'm pretty sure that
years
was
later.
the last thing they did. And there was
And
question
that was
for a
right
long time
before
if they
the
would
movie
even
came
bother
out.
with it.
Yeah, that was like right before 09 came out, wasn't it?
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they got the money to do that one. I would think that they would have been cut off after the 79. What do you say?
Yeah.
I've never noticed the emblem on the Doctor's jumpsuit. It's cool. I think it says USS Enterprise on it.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's probably because they had so little left to actually do on it after doing the Menagerie. They were probably like, all right, just go ahead and finish it up. You know, there's probably very little scenes they needed to.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they would have had all the ship stuff and the outside stuff and all that. And yeah, Brandon, when we get into TNG, we'll have like very different Doctor uniforms that have their own emblems and stuff too that kind of call back to this.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't run with that and why McCoy is kind of wearing essentially the same uniform everybody else is, just with short sleeves.
Yeah, and his uniform, and it's weird, but look at the symbol. It's like an Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not like Federation or
Well, they might have. I mean, it's important to remember that, you know, we always bring with us everything we know about Star Trek already, so we're used to, you know, assuming that it's all one organization and stuff. It's possible that their thinking with the cage was you have Starfleet, but then you have like separate entities that could all be on the
Right.
ship, and I don't know that for sure, but it might make sense if he is part of like just a, you know, union of doctors or something from
Right.
Earth. You're sort of like the Makos in Enterprise.
right. That's so small.
It reminds me of the old like War of the Worlds aliens.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that. That's just somebody like under the thing shoving the paper through.
Yeah, interesting that they never have paper printouts in TOS.
Yeah.
Like, they've already made the technology more futuristic by the time we get to the second pilot.
Right. And nobody's wearing
Like a fax
eyeglasses
machine.
either.
And we don't need, like, lamps on our consoles
Yes.
or whatever those are supposed to be. I don't know if you
I
look
think
at
they're
them
supposed
or
to be
if
those
you...
little
Those
screens.
turn
are
them
the little
on.
screens, yeah.
Are they? Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. But I don't know why they need them.
I don't know why they had those.
Time
yeah.
warp. Factor 7. Okay, this is the part they cut out from the pilot where they have the music of the show and they're going to warp.
Yes, and but
is
you're not. But you're leaving out the weirdest part, which is the starfield that goes in and
The
out on top of
superimposition.
the footage.
Yes.
Remember that? It was like,
Yeah.
and it's very strange.
That is like up there with the theme music playing during the saucer sep in Farpoint.
Yes!
You know, that's how weird it is.
And that's also where they say we're going to time warp.
Time warp.
Remember that?
Yeah, he said it right.
Oh, did he say it there?
left
Yeah, I
that
missed
in
it.
there. Yeah, he said it in there.
So if you're watching this at the time, you've got to be thinking our production values are through the roof, right? Because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's in the past, so we're redressing the set and we're using different props and different uniforms, and like the
Yeah.
technology is older.
Actors, right.
It's the most brilliant use of old footage. I mean, what you essentially have made here is a clip show that is not a clip show because it's of a thing nobody's gotten to see yet.
Oh, you got to see.
And if you go and watch this in production order and you treat the cage as the first pilot, this of course watches like a clip show. It's actually kind of better to not watch the cage until
I
the
usually
end.
don't watch the cage until like it may be the very end. I'll watch it if I'm rewatching TOS.
A lot of syndication runs put it at the end. It's very often listed as episode 80, which I kind of prefer.
Yeah, I list it as a bookend. You know.
Well,
in a
especially because it
pinch.
washes the taste of your mouth out a little bit.
Oh yeah, Turnabout Intruder.
For Turnabout Intruder, exactly.
Kirk calls this the one forbidden world in all the galaxy. That's quite some hyperbole there.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's just
That was
stupid
so
that it
cool.
is.
But the whole galaxy, they don't know, you know, that there wouldn't be others later. And
They met of
So
the
far,
Federation.
they have made this world forbidden.
yes,
It's
so
the only
far.
one they've made forbidden in the whole galaxy, Brandon. Like, it's not hyperbolic, it's not untrue. It's just kind of silly that there's not any others yet.
It's like Planet of the Apes. It's a forbidden zone.
There's nothing in that statement that suggests that they're pretending like they've seen all the galaxy. It's just so far. There's just the one, Brandon.
Right, but I still think, it's a bit of an exaggeration. There's just the one, but yes, they've explored next to nothing, comparatively.
That guy was kind of funny looking. Sorry, number one. You just gotta stay up on here.
But the thing is, especially when we learn more about, the canon of what's come before, Starfleet's been around for a good long time now.
Right.
Yeah, relative to what we get later, Brandon, we haven't explored all that much of the galaxy yet. We still, in the Alpha Quadrant, have quite a bit to find.
Yes.
And we're not even to the breakdown yet with the quadrants, of course. When we say quadrant in TOS, we mean one of 5 different possible things.
Right.
It seems to me. But this is not like the earliest space exploration. We've been doing this for at least 100 years.
Yes.
I think this is the part of the thing that always plays when you scroll over it on Netflix. Before scroll over this
Is that
thing
right?
Here. Right here, yes.
I do think it's kind of interesting that they didn't go back and change any of the sound effects or anything when they made the Menagerie, because they've already established the look and sound of the show. They totally could have used their beaming sound effect.
Right.
But they didn't. They left the nails of the chalkboard in.
Yeah.
And I guess that could be part of, well, the technology's older, so, like, it takes longer to beam and all of that. I really think they're thinking that in the production. Like, let's leave in everything that makes it feel older.
Right. This looks so good, this planet. It looks way better than any other planet.
And that's because when they... Well, and I mean, I think Where No Man Has Gone Before also looks a little bit better than some of the planets later, maybe,
yes,
but it's not... You don't have this epic matte painting in the background.
No, you don't have that matte painting.
Like
I think they reused that for Where No Man Has Gone Before. For Delta Vega.
They made this more like a movie than they did like a pilot.
Yes.
And when they screened it for the network,
smiling,
and I feel like there was a screening for like in more of an audience, and I can't remember why, but like when they screened this, it was in a movie theater, and every review from that, because you can go back and find them, there's a couple people that wrote about it. And they talk about how, amazing it looks as a movie. They're blown away. Like, this is the equivalent back then of seeing something like Breaking Bad or 24 or something on TV where you're going, this doesn't look like a TV show, this looks like a movie. This didn't look like television back then.
Right.
And I would even go as far as to say, and I haven't seen more than clips of this movie, but if you look at Forbidden Planet versus this, the production values look very close.
They're very close. I've seen Forbidden Planet a few times, yeah.
Yeah, Stuffles, the remaster is gorgeous with this. And it's wonderful that we have...
Time barriers.
That we have the preservation that we do of this footage.
Yeah.
Jimmy77, all of this is exactly why I can't accept Discovery as a prequel to TOS. Oh, this is the reason. This is one of many, 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 many reasons. And I didn't have to get to the Telosian stuff in the middle of Season 2 before I felt that way. But that was also kind of the last straw to me, man. When they show footage from the cage in that show. It's so goofy. And then they proceed to have way less cool-looking Telosians themselves.
Yeah.
And they don't bother with the head throb or anything.
No.
What are you guys doing?
So this is also a woman.
Yes. And I am convinced that she has a lot to do with why the actress was picked for the female changeling in DS9, because it is really similar look and sound. And also, I think most of the Telosians were women, at least the ones that got it.
I think they all were.
No, there's a couple in the background you can tell are men. I think there were. Well, I think there are some like kind of male stand-in Telosians, but if they got a speaking part,
then they all right.
Could be wrong. Pretty sure I'm right about that. Snuffles, I won't get real into Discovery spoilers in case anybody cares, but we do return to TOS 4 in that, and we have Pike go back to this before all of this happens. And there's also a thing in that where he finds out about himself in the chair later, because of course we have to do that. And it sucks, because Mount is so freaking good in that.
Yeah.
I want to be excited about the potential of his getting a show. But it's those people, so I'm not.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Anson Mount. He's wound up in some crappy projects like that. The reveal later on of what she actually looks like, and that it's not what we thought the whole time, is one of the the great Star Trek reveals, and it's the first thing they made.
Yeah.
Just vintage.
I don't know why they
stuff.
thought this was too. It is ridiculous. Their standards were so low that they thought this was too cerebral, or whatever the term was they used.
They thought it was too cerebral. They thought it was too dark. They were worried about the adult themes, and it didn't have enough action. And the network was right about the action thing. I don't think TOS is anything like as successful if you don't turn it into at least something of an action show.
Some action, right. But I mean, the Outer Limits was dark and stuff. But of course, that was a different network. That was also on ABC, and that was that ABC in the 60s was very low rated compared to CBS and NBC.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So that may have been why that show made it on, but I could see why they maybe were worried about it. But this is an expensive show, and they definitely wanted to maximize their investment in it.
Matthew Bay says the big brains are really cool. Is just out of curiosity, is this your first time seeing this, Matthew? Yeah, they are, and the throbbing thing is awesome because it's going above and beyond. Like, they didn't have to do that. It just adds so much to the production value.
They're gonna have I like the lasers in this, the effect when it's hitting the colors coming off it and the stuff when it hits.
Yeah, you mean like the animation cool. Where they have
the animation, the lines. Yeah, yes. When they bring the big laser out, that's cool too.
So I know I always comment on this, but you always have this in Star Trek, and not just TOS, but through most of Star Trek, where we're not watching surveillance footage. They're seeing an episode of Star Trek.
Well, they said this stuff's being beamed from Talos 4 directly, so I guess you could use the conceit, the Telosians have better cameras or whatever.
Or it's not even cameras, it's like from their eyesight.
Like thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, like they could be beaming what they were seeing, but of course the problem with that is we also saw like inside the ship.
Yeah, it's true too.
And stuff. But you're right, it works better than we had cameras everywhere. It works better than Court Martial. Yeah.
Or Star Trek 3 when they just show Star Trek 2 on the
TV. But I think one of the Arena's pretty egregious too, where you have like that pan over and then zooming in and stuff. But with I'm talking about when he's fighting the Gorn. But I still think that it's pretty egregious in Court Martial, where there is one camera just dedicated to anytime Kirk presses buttons on his console, on his chair. There's one camera for that.
One camera for watching that. Uh-oh.
Yeah, Snuffles, I'm with you. At least we have the Orville, but there is a lot of talk that it either won't continue past 3, or that McFarlane is just done with it and doesn't want to do it anymore, and so he could leave, and then they would have to replace his character, and also not have him writing anymore, which would be sad. So I guess we'll see what happens with that whole thing, but there have been a lot of reports that he's burnt out. I don't know how true that is, though. It's hard to say.
feel like it'd be hard to burn somebody out on somebody that spent 16, 20 years on Family Guy.
Well, I don't think he runs Family
No.
Guy day to day, Brandon.
Yes, but
I think he
it's
passed
just
that
been
off
going
a
for a
Even
long
when he
time.
was, though, it's a lot different when you're doing like a
Doing a
45-minute
live
live-action
Live
show
action.
where
And
you're,
acting
where
in it.
you're the main actor. And you notice he intentionally writes himself out all the time in that show. He's kind of the main character and kind of not. Like, there are a lot of episodes that are even, like, mostly, his story. And at first I thought he was just being really humble, and then I was like, he's got a lot of things he has to do on this show. Like, I think he's really careful he's not in every scene.
This is the end, I think. Yeah,
Yes,
to be
it should be
concluded.
concluded next week.
Next week.
I guess we could have made this a one-episode night, because it did say next week, and then we could watch it next week. But
They didn't do this much after the first season, where they would have
Coon.
the producer credit play over the action. It usually would be a shot of the ship
Yep.
flying off later on. And
yeah,
stuff.
you didn't see that much, and I like it. I wish they'd done it more.
I like it too.
That is the '60s Batman thing to do.
Yeah.
Because they had it. Well, folks, we're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break. We'll be right back in a few minutes, and we'll watch part 2. So get that rigged up, get ready to press play for when we come back, and we will watch part 2 of the Menagerie. I'm glad I put this on the wheel.
Yeah.
Although I feel bad, because I can't remember who it is, but yeah, there's the guy that put in, like, all the pilots, and he still hasn't gotten
pilots.
one pilot. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back in just a couple minutes, guys. About
right.
5. Okay, we're back, and it's time now to watch the second part of the Menagerie. So I hope everybody has been to the restroom and had something tasty to drink to grab sitting in front of you. Here we go. Get ready to press play. When I say now, we're going to jump straight into it. Here we go. Everybody,
Sweet.
Everybody, please press play. Does this have like a last time on, or does it just
Yes,
go
it does.
straight
It's
in?
narrated by Shatner.
Oh, that's
does.
fun. I didn't remember that. All right, here we go. Everybody, please press play. And if somebody needs a timestamp, just let us know. Everybody, please press play right now. Burr, burr, burr. Yeah, I got it this time. Oh, that's actually
a log.
That's actually a great way to do a previously on. Yeah, it's actually kind of technically part of the episode, as opposed to here's the crap you missed because you should have been here.
Yeah.
Guilty.
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 That's what I need in the middle of my bunker is just some hula hoops, like flowing in and out of each other.
And that sound effect too.
Why does it do that?
Walk around, you need to walk around with his light stick thing.
There are bits where I can't tell if they're intentionally using like grainier footage on the bridge for when they're watching it, or if it's just they couldn't.
I think it's just
clean it
optical.
up better.
It's an optical effect, so you always get some degradation with it because you're generating another print basically.
Oh, you mean like when there's people actually walking in front of it and stuff, as opposed to when you just because you can just superimpose it when it's
sometimes
just
they
the
actually
window. Yeah.
input it in, I think, and I think that might have been the graininess. Dun, 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 dun. That's one of my favorite little things. The dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, that's one of the great stings, and they do that through the whole show. Yeah.
Her smoke gun, its smoke gun is cool. We forgot to comment on that they used to knock them out.
Well, my favorite thing was always the door.
The door is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's neat. That's also a thing that looks kind of 60 Batman to me.
Jagged edge.
But where it's got the rock formation that actually like comes together.
It kind of reminds me of where they found Data, the rock formation where they find Data.
Div 22 just put the inner light on the board. Thanks for that. Better hurry up and do all the good ones so that we can watch nothing but mediocre Star Trek.
All the bad ones. Well, we have so many good ones still to do.
That's true. We sure do. Oh, no, I can do it again. Burr, burr, burr.
Yeah.
Jason was frustrated because he's been doing his own rewatch, or not even rewatch. There's some episodes he hasn't seen, but he's been going in, I think, production order on his own. So he just watched The Cage like 2 weeks ago. So he's upstairs watching this with us, going, "I just saw all this. I'm bored now." So he's only engaged when he's looking at the courtroom footage. I imagine he'll skip this episode in his watch now.
Yeah.
Burr, burr. Jason, why did you need someone to give you a timestamp? We were just up there talking to you, saying we're gonna go start Star Trek Club again.
Give me a timestamp just for the heck of it.
Just for good measure.
That's great. I mean, it was somebody that had to get up and make a sandwich. No, it's Jason. Wow, can I state the obvious? Just that shot made it so clear. Leonard Nimoy was a tall man.
Yes.
Oh, thanks, Busted Sim. Busted Sim just put Man Trap.
The Man Trap.
On the
the
board.
first aired episode of Star Trek.
Right. Which was a weird first aired episode, but they almost made Mud first, and that would have been even weirder.
They actually, I think it got a bad review when it aired. The Man Trap did. They said it was boring, actually, and that Shatner was wooden.
Isn't that crazy?
Shatner wooden.
I think, I think the actual second pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before, would have been a better thing to air first.
Right.
And it's very strange. And I mean, I think it would have been more entertaining to people and engaged them more. And it's got that epic fight at the end, and
Yeah.
It's more of a fun science fiction concept because people are used to Monster of the Week stuff, and Mantrap is more of that kind of an episode.
Well, that thing, I'm pretty sure the Mantrap costume was an Outer Limits costume. They just reused it. The Salt Vampire. I think it might have been
right?
Reused. Yeah. And there's a bird thing in the cage that I know was an Outer Limits costume. One of the animals in the other compartments here. I don't know if they show it in the.
Just put in Corbomite maneuver.
And the Corbomite maneuver was the first regular production episode after the pilot.
That's why he put that there. Yeah. And then Matthew Bass just put in Rungs Darker Than Death or Night, but I gotta check and make sure that's not already on here. That is already on here, so I'll need you to pick a different episode. Let me just make sure Corbomite is not. I don't believe it is. No. Cool. Getting some early TOS on here.
Yeah.
That's exciting. We have a big board right now, guys. And feel free to keep throwing stuff on it if you want to, but we are in good shape right now.
I just noticed it was like a water trough thing in the background of the chamber there, and there's actually water flowing into it. You can't even see it, but they went ahead and spent money on that. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Can I say I do love
Jimmy, we did in the Pale Moonlight already.
Yeah.
That was actually quite a few weeks ago. Was it?
You know,
I do love
we
this
could do
set.
it again. I can live with it.
I can.
With it.
Well, the thing is, at the end of that episode, we erased the whole episode, so nobody knows that. What's up, Brandon?
I do love this set of the Telosian's zoo, as it were.
Oh, of course.
It's such a great indoor rocky enclosure with these pentagram, these pentagram archways.
I also like the ceiling of this set.
They reuse this in the where no man has gone before, but then they get rid of it, and
I don't know why.
I think it looks cooler than the normal briefing room.
There's
set
some stuff
that they use
from the cage aesthetic that I wish we hadn't lost, but to be fair, it doesn't all match the rest of the shit that you see later.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, Busted Sim. I will try to make. I just need to prioritize, and I'm working on so much stuff right now. I need to try to make a list of all the episodes that we've done so far, and give you guys meeting numbers so that you can go back and see the commentaries.
Yeah.
If you want to catch up to us.
I think they might have used this set in the Corbomite maneuver also, and it was then redressed as Baylock's ship. The inside of it, I believe. I remember reading that somewhere.
Interesting. Well, Tom, no, $2 super chat. He says this is kind of like the zoo episode of the Orville. No, that's kind of like this.
Yeah, that's kind of like.
Of course, that's calling back to this, buddy.
Right.
At some point, I would love to do some Orville on the show because I can, with every episode of that show, tell you the 2, 3, 4 things that they blended to make an episode. Not to say that there's not some fresh new stuff there in places as well, but a lot of them are kind of blends of episodes that end in very different ways than you expect them to. Where, like, they don't do the obvious TNG thing, and that's why I don't think it's fair to say that it's just a throwback show that's just doing TNG all over the place. Because it surprises me constantly in the way it's willing to take risks and in some of the sophisticated things I wouldn't expect it to do. I don't love every episode of that show, but it's done that to me frequently.
Yeah. This is one of the great matte paintings of TNG right here, I think. Yeah.
Jimmy, I'll check and see if Duet is on here. Just so you know, we take requests with
I think Duet is on there.
With a super chat in any dollar amount. I believe it's here, but I'm not seeing it.
Oh my god, they do one of the best. She has one of the best facial reactions. What the heck was that?
I think it was growling. Duet is not on here, so we can put that on here if.
What was her face though? She was like.
If you want us to.
Yeah.
Roar.
Roar.
That
Look,
is
the
some silly
subtitles, are they different for you? They're back to normal.
Yeah, they don't have the black background now.
They don't have the black button. This guy's
And whenever this guy
ridiculous
roars,
looking.
it just says roar with an exclamation point. It's
Where did they
hilarious.
film
Cross
this?
between a
This is
Russian and a
crazy
Hun.
that they built this set.
It's a Hunshin. I'm sure that's offensive to someone. That
Rush
guy.
Hun.
Yeah, sure. This is a decisively not Star Trek looking thing. When we move forward. Snuffles, what are you referring to? She says it went from really pretty to really bad. Gur,
my.
Gur and Arg.
The matte painting maybe doesn't gel exactly with what we get in the set pieces. Might have been what she was referring to.
And I know that and I know a lot of the stuff that's on the set here is repurposed from other things.
Yeah, they just raided the Paramount lot of 1930s swashbuckling movies or whatever they have in prop storage. That looks like what they've done here.
Maybe she's talking about film quality. It's like their skin tone changes when they're watching it on the screen in the trial. Yeah, I was getting that too.
Yeah, because that's like a rear projection in the trial, I'm pretty sure. So the actors can react to it better.
This guy reminds me of like the personification of the abominable snowman.
The abominable snowman. He looks like the abominable snowman in the Rankin Bass thing. Like his facial.
Yeah. Wooden sword.
Ah. Oh. What if he missed and hit her?
Well, I guess as captain, you gotta take those chances. Okay, there's a weapon you need there, Cap.
Oh.
So, since she knows that this is all like made up and an illusion, is she just going along with it, or is she also scared of these things?
No, she should win the best actress Oscar. I think she might be scared because she said you'll feel it. So I think maybe it still is dangerous.
Well, she understands, that regardless of the fact that it's an illusion, it feels real, and you don't want to feel pain still.
Yeah.
That's true, but I wouldn't know if it would only be painful for him because she's doing what they want. You know what I mean? Like, I would think that they'd be able to kind of regulate that, because, like, they're making it right now to where she's not feeling the pain of being, deformed and...
Right, why would she have to... Exactly, yeah. Why would she have to feel the pain to go along with this illusion?
But I don't buy that girl is that good of an actor.
No.
I mean, we can really overthink this. It's also possible that the Telosians are, like, accentuating her reactions also. Like, that could be happening.
Or you could or her acting is really bad in that scene, so maybe she's trying to act. Maybe this actor was thinking all these moves ahead and stuff. She was like, I'm going to act like I'm acting here.
Do you guys buy that Spock really would have to draw this out this long? Because he says, my answer to you would be quite unbelievable. At this point, they should believe anything Spock says, because he's been willing to commandeer a starship. Everything he said so far has been proven to be true. They understand this to be true.
Yeah, it's a weird line.
Yeah.
This is rear projection here, I'm pretty sure.
Jimmy, did you guys ever watch the special features for season 1 of TOS? Yes. But not everything, because I haven't seen the special features for all of the remaster stuff, and all of the HD stuff. One of the production designers talks about spray painting cup lids in soccer balls. Yeah, I've heard some of that. Busted Sim, can we all appreciate that the first ever episode of Star Trek is a glorified holodeck episode? I mean, sorta, kinda. That's amusing.
So, in a moment here, we're about to get the only time in all of TOS
that we go to Earth,
that we see Earth of the present.
Yep, right, of the present.
Yeah.
We see a lot of Earth-like planets, and we go back in time in City, but that's it.
Right, but that's it.
those questions.
So this guy had been his big break before this. He played Jesus Christ in the King of Kings Nicholas Ray movie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do we have to have a pikeathon?
No, probably not. It's probably fine. I'm assuming Hunter did a bunch of westerns and stuff like everybody else, right?
Yeah, I don't know what else. I don't. He wound up being in a bunch of really bad Italian movies and died young.
There's just laser cannon.
He died really
Later
young.
on
I
in
mean,
his
like
life,
not
yeah.
that long after this, right? Like,
This
wasn't
is so cool. I love this cannon
like,
and their like goggles. And
they
Did
stuff.
he even
laser
make it to the
protection.
70s, or was it just a couple
I
years
don't
after
know.
this?
I'm not sure. It was the early 70s, I think, if he did.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Hey, it's a lightning storm in space.
This is crazy.
And the old-fashioned communicators.
Look at her nail polish is blue.
It's futuristic nail polish.
Futuristic.
Well, I'd say that that door is made of like trilithium or something.
No, trilithium.
Trilithium resin.
I also went there. 69. He died in 69.
So they're like beaming power directly from the Enterprise to power this laser, apparently.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy the sheer amount of changes that they made even in terminology getting into the regular show. The, lasers to phasers and such.
Well, and it's weird that I also think that there was like a 2-year long development process almost between when this aired and the first regular episode aired. But this aired, or when this was made in '64, I believe, and the first episode aired in '66, of course. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's like the cycle for a film series.
Or the cycle for Star Trek Discovery.
Well sure.
When it was first announced and when it aired.
Was not worth the wait.
Illusions.
Wish they'd discovered a different showrunner.
Have you seen their planet? Why did they go underground?
Yeah, do you need to ask that question? Yeah, that's a good point. Obviously, some really classic themes with this episode and with just the Cage in general. I guess we're talking more about the Cage right now than Menagerie because we've been watching the Cage for quite a while. That permeate through all of Star Trek, and we're already there in classic science fiction, in books and especially, but also films and things with the with issues of like, is it more important or more fulfilling to live a perfect life or to experience everything there is to experience, or to actually deal with the like regular rigors of everyday life.
Right.
And the human condition, I guess the biggest thing, the human condition being being controlled by anything.
So Jeffrey Hunter died May 27th,
Boy, that lighting is
1969. So he died before the last episode of the original series aired.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That green lighting on the left side of the Telosian's head is probably the coolest shot in the Cage.
Yeah.
I love that.
Back to the rear projection.
It's so weird how it cuts in and out.
So they can zoom back like that.
Yeah.
It's like one of those old style big screen TVs or whatever. green.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the grainiest footage we've seen so far, but that's because they're shooting in the dark. That was a weird cut.
Yeah.
Like, he was in a position, and then it cut, and then he got back in that same position.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is also a premise.
This part's crazy. Look, it looks like he's got oatmeal on him.
Yeah.
What is that?
This is a premise that would have felt really fresh at the time that I get really sick of and stuff now.
Yeah.
The race that looks down on humans, sees themselves as superior, does experiments on us, puts us in something akin to a zoo.
Yeah.
Tries to manufacture paradise, and we push against it. We've done this story over and over and over and over again since this.
Well, it's interesting. They did it even on before this. It was done in like the Twilight Zone and stuff. There's an episode with Roddy McDowall where he gets trapped in the in a Martian zoo at the end. It turns out that that's where he was in a zoo to live out his life or whatever.
Yeah, it was already a classic sci-fi concept. Yeah. I'm not suggesting this is the first thing that did it. I'm just saying that a lot of people would have seen this, and it might have been the introduction to this idea for them. And
right, exactly.
It can't be that anymore. I mean, we've all.
But it's weird that they rejected this, but Star Trek winds up going back to this idea itself, quite a bit and stuff to this well.
Quite constantly. I mean, I would argue that every series has something that dips into this in some way. Like, we're not always fully recreating the cage, but I mean,
there's elements.
Yeah. I mean, Voyager's got scientific method.
Yeah.
This is also a thing X-Men goes to quite a bit, too.
Oh, yeah? Excellent. He said that like Mr. Burns. Did you hear that? Excellent. Ooh, yes, Smithers. Oh, Christopher Pike, a bit of a rabble rouser, eh? Well, watch that man.
Okay, that was a little too good.
There it is. There's Mojave, as they call it. So apparently the desert is not a desert anymore.
Probably because of those Earth biomes.
The far-flung future. We've planted a lot of grass since then.
Yeah.
Well, it just worked out.
The atmospheric conditioners,
Yeah. We changed the whole landscape.
Or
terraformed Mojave Desert.
Maybe the plate tectonics have shifted just enough over the several hundred years.
He's not content with horseback riding, eh? Release the hounds.
This is the only time that denim appears in Star Trek. No, wait. Kirk wears denim in
City.
Star Trek 5.
I think there's denim in City.
Bones wears...
Maybe not.
Yeah, that's true.
Bones wears denim in 4,
that's
doesn't
flashbacks or previous time. This is future denim.
Space denim.
I think it's a cool outfit, though.
It's interesting to me that they didn't just title this episode "The Cage" again, because they didn't expect to ever air that. So they just went with a synonym, and Pike says both synonyms in a line of dialogue where he's like, a menagerie, a cage.
Okay.
And the only reason this is called a menagerie is because that's another word for the cage. Like, it's the same title.
Right.
So, the, she talks about they can't read through primitive emotions, but I would argue that the sympathy is a somewhat, primitive emotion, and the
I think they mean like a base emotion, like animalistic, like anger, or maybe I don't know. Is that,
just
that's how they
anger
view
though,
it.
because they're like, I mean,
Anger or fear or
when they say primitive, I think they mean anything
Pain.
that is accompanied by like adrenaline and stuff. Like there's
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe there's like a chemical component to what blocks it.
It's like your lizard brain or whatever. in your mind.
Yeah, arguably compassion isn't a I mean, you're right. You could call that a base emotion, but it's not as related to like to keeping yourself alive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably like self-preservation instinct.
Right. So they did redo that, Matt, a little bit. The one that's the Mojave background, I believe. It looks different than it did in the original, slightly. It looks more depth to it.
What does? I'm sorry.
The Mojave matte
okay.
painting. Yeah.
Yeah, they have expanded that. See, that guy on the right, I'm pretty sure that's a dude.
That might be a dude. This is the craziest part.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
This part is weird. Starfleet officers would be like cool with this. Just laying around watching this.
Yeah.
It's very 60s.
And not even because it's womanizing so much as because it's a slave girl. And you think you're enlightened and stuff. They're like, well, maybe the way you get around it, maybe the excuse is, well, we're just going along with somebody else's culture.
Right, but that guy was way too into it. The one guy
He's
that's
too
there
into it,
with
yeah.
him. Yeah.
So in the first episode that we watched, they make mention. Pike makes mention of the fact that there are other professions to be had in the universe. He doesn't have to be a starship captain. And the doctor opines, well, what would you do? Own slaves? Like the Orion slave girls?
women.
And he's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm just saying there's other things to do. So
There's other things out there, not that necessarily.
yeah, exactly. So this isn't as far-flung a stretch from that line.
I
As
know.
it otherwise
It's a
seems.
callback
So there's
to
some
that.
really helpful exposition right here for the Menagerie that you don't get in the Cage. Because when Kirk says, oh, there's Vina again, I swear to God, it's really easy to miss that the Orion slave girl is supposed to be Vina.
You don't really get it until Pike goes, Dina?
Yeah.
Like that. He said like that.
So I think it's intentional when they cut to Kirk and he goes, it's Vina again. I'm like, I needed that in the Cage. Like, Phoenix put in a $4.99 super chat for the board, Charlie X or Enemy Within. Have we done Enemy Within?
I don't remember.
I thought maybe we did. Let's go ahead and do
did
Charlie
that
X because
this
I know
time.
for sure we didn't put that there. And thanks for all the
So,
great
I think-
content. It was just listening to your Star Trek V commentary. Man, thank you. We love doing those commentaries. That was so much
We
fun.
did Star Trek 5. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was great.
The only one we haven't done yet is Beyond, and we're going to do that on this show
Yeah.
at some point.
So there was they did like a test of this makeup, apparently. Shatner talked about it in his Star Trek Memories book. And they kept getting it back, and it kept being normal looking.
Yes.
And they're like, why is this normal looking?
Because they kept color correcting it, because they thought it wasn't...
timer, and he's like, I've been working day and night to fix this. What have your cinematographer done?
So this door that he just walked through is just a regular door with doorknobs on it. That was kind of funny. Never noticed that before.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah, watching it so big, it just was a double door with two doorknobs.
Captain, you should cosplay as this.
Okay. It would be really difficult to get these colors right and to get the light to hit it correctly, I think.
Oh man, I think you could actually find those colors.
I'd do it. I would totally do it. I would work out for a few weeks first, but then I would totally do that. I guess they already have the door sound effects, though.
Yeah.
But Sim, maybe it's hard to notice,
favorite...
but every scenario the Telosians put Pike through are the ones he mentions with the Doctor?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite crazy
lines.
lines.
Of course. I knew that. It's just been a while.
This is it. Here he goes. Get ready for it.
The women.
Yes.
No, that's infamous.
Yes.
But like the women were being beamed off and they weren't being beamed. Why did they have to wait till the beaming was done?
Why did they just make him go boop like they did that a lot in Star Trek? Yeah.
I think because that's a difficult effect right then.
that line could be construed in a number of ways.
Yeah. But yeah, Adam, Altman's podcast has an episode called "The Women!" exclamation point. They did and I think that episode was all about female characters in the show.
So the actress that plays Yeoman Colt in this, that was the prototype for Yeoman Rand, she, I think, was in an Elvis movie, and she played Elvis's love interest.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Now, I would say she is like the prototypical, like love interest girl in a TOS episode. Like, there's a lot of women in Star Trek that look kind of like her and that are written a lot like her.
Yeah.
Oh, lashing out.
This is a bit catty.
Did she call her a ship's computer? Because she's
You
literally
said
the
you'd be
voice of the ship's
you're calling her
computer.
an ice queen.
Yeah,
you know?
and then later she's the voice of the ship's computer. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's great.
Emily Hudick.
So it has been incorrectly assumed forever, I mean for decades now, that the reason the network was against number one was because they didn't want a woman second in command on the ship. As far as I understand it, the more I've read, that actually has nothing to do with it, or very little to do with it. It's more they didn't like Roddenberry casting his girlfriend as the second in command of the starship.
Gotcha.
If she had been played by any other actress, we may have gotten that, and they might have been allowed to be that progressive. I really don't think it actually had anything to do with that.
Really? That was Roddenberry's spin on it in the 70s or whatever.
Well, because the network famously never got along with Roddenberry, and they were always pushing against him with stuff like that.
Right.
Because he was just trying to further her career, and they're like, who is this random person? Like, I think Majel Barrett became a better actress later in life. She was never a great actress.
No.
She certainly, at this point in her career, wasn't... I don't think she had the presence to carry that much of a load of a show by herself.
No.
Although I like her here. Maybe she would have grown into it.
Right.
I mean, by the time she's playing Laxana, I think she's a much better actress after she had, a lot more years under her belt. But she's a real green actress here, no pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
Let's assume he's still married by this point, because it's not just that she's his girlfriend, but his mistress. Precisely.
Mistress.
Yeah. I was being kind when I said it that way. But yeah, no, he was still married at this time. As far as I remember.
I think so.
Or if not, everybody knew what was going on. But I'm pretty sure he was still married at this point.
Yeah.
They don't mean to be evil. That's my favorite line from this.
This is like a case where the gorilla at the zoo
becomes
the zookeeper.
I'm sure. That reaction from, I don't remember her name, from the redhead was really funny, when she's like, ugh. This is my
yeah.
Ugh. Okay, but like, he knows you're not a pig creature. So I don't know why he'd be all that scared of that.
Is this when he threatens to blow that the Telosian's head open? I'm wondering, like, would it be like Mars Attacks at the end when the
now I just want Telosians walking around going, ah, ah, ah. We need to do a commentary on that, Adam.
We watched it one time. We didn't do a commentary on it though, did we?
No, we watched it together. But
Yeah,
we should totally record something on it. I love that movie. It's still crazy that in Independence Day came out the same year and that it was not intended as a parody of that, because it watches like a parody of that. Especially if you didn't know that Mars Attacks was a thing that's based on Topps trading cards.
Yes.
And comics, but I'm pretty sure it starts as trading cards. Yeah, Snuffles, I have met Marina Sirtis. She was a lot of fun. She says she's met everybody in TNG but her, McFadden, and Patrick Stewart. I have seen them all on stage.
You saw Patrick Stewart?
I guess not Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
But everybody else.
He didn't come for that thing. That was sad.
Well, that was like a thing where they were touring, and he was probably on stage. And
he was on doing the play with Ian McKellen.
That's what I figured. Phoenix Sundance, Mitchell Barrett may have been a great actress at this time in terms of her acting chops, but Susan Oliver was a literal green actress as the Lansley role. Well, like I said, no pun intended. I was trying to get in front of that.
Watch nothing.
Yeah, I also like that circumstances have really changed. I mean, it's really interesting that in the initial story, the idea is that Pike doesn't want to live a perfect life as a slave or a caged animal. But once you're in this position,
then he's okay with it, right?
It would change your perspective a lot.
Right.
It's just interesting how all things are relative.
Right. This chair has become the cage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Symbolism.
Boom.
No, I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what it is. And the closest thing to a normal life he's going to be able to live is going back to that planet and being with Vina, who he really did actually fall in love with. So it's not just, well, this gives me a chance to at least feel like I've got legs again, but it actually lets him live a life with a person that he wants to be with.
Right.
Yes, but he's still
and
so
that
bound
they
to
both
duty.
have the same.
They both have the same kind of
The same ailments. Yeah,
disabilities
because she's
and
also trapped in her own body in the same way too.
Right.
Sam?
I'm just saying he has such a his sense of duty is so strong that he's still told Spock he didn't want to go there, even though he knew it would be a better quality of life. All this stuff, he didn't want to violate protocol for the law of.
Yeah, I forget. Is this all like Spock's doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like it's his idea in the first place, and Pike pushes against it.
No,
Yeah,
he went against
Pike
it. He
repeatedly
was like,
told him
no, beep beep.
we were talking a lot. I couldn't remember, but
Yeah.
it's just really nice that like the one or two times, depending on how you want to look at it, that we actually get to spend with this character with Pike. Like he is the like prototypical perfect starship captain.
Right. Even more than Kirk.
Yeah, because he absolutely believes in the no-win scenario.
Right. Hmm?
And it's also really interesting that at the end of the day, the end of Menagerie, like probably years after all this happened, the Delosians actually end up kind of getting what they wanted in the first place.
Yeah. It's crazy they had the phaser overload thing, even going all the way back to the cage. That was the thing,
You gotta have a self-destruct on everything.
Yes.
Snuffle says Michael Dorn was a bit abrasive, just a hair. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that again, but I also had that experience.
Well, they like humans too much. They're gonna try again anyway.
I did get to see Shatner and Nimoy on stage once. That was great.
Yeah, I walked within 10 feet of Shatner at that Comic-Con.
Okay, those are both definitely dudes.
Yeah.
We should try to make a pulsating head costume.
They must have like air thing or something pumping into that.
They do, and they hold it so like she is pressing this button to make that happen, if memory serves.
That's
Yep,
crazy.
it's like it's a tube.
So the director's probably like, all right, pulsate your head. Pulsate.
Don't forget to
Or
pulsate
doing
your
a
head.
shot of the back of your head.
Now
Oh,
you're pulsating
Do
it too much.
No, slow down.
Your sprunger is sprunging.
Oh, you broke it. There's a big hole in the back of your head now. We gotta go back and.
Oh no. It was like a Reebok pump. You blew it up too much and it. Yeah, I think that was a man.
Divid22 just put cat's paw on the board. Thanks, man. Are you gonna do that the entire time?
Oh yeah. I do it the whole time. Captain Kirk. That's
I
what
never
about that
remember
episode.
anything in that
Macbeth.
episode. I always have to go back.
Macbeth with
Besides
the-
the giant cat, like I always have to go back to that. I don't even know what happened.
I don't know what it's about. I don't understand it. I have no idea what the
If
point
we
of
watched
it is.
it right now, I would have nothing to say. I would just
not-
be
I didn't-
watching it.
I just remember the Macbeth witches that are like Captain Kirk. Yes, let's do a Halloween episode for Star Trek.
Yeah, but no other holidays except for one mention of Thanksgiving turkey. Is that one
Thanksgiving
time?
turkeys. I guess they have Christmas in Generations.
It's weird that the light flash thing in the beaming effect in the cage happens after they've beamed already.
Right.
And now she's just in the darkness for some reason.
In the
Yeah.
darkness.
It's the darkness.
Oh, David, did you just pick that because it's a Halloween episode, but you don't know anything about it? He said it's a Halloween episode, apparently. I think you just picked it because he thought it sounded weird.
Oh. They did a pretty good job with this, like, dissolve and stuff here, I think.
Yeah, it holds up, and it's pretty messed up. And you still have that trick where you're cutting away from it and then coming back to make it look worse. But it's nice that we don't use that trick in the first place. Like, they do a legit effect, and then they can kind of get away with that trick after that.
Right. True appearance. A hideous monster.
Yeah, and like, it's messed up. And it's cool that they went as far as they did with this.
That's pretty messed up, actually. They had no guide to put her back together.
Yeah, like
so
there's kind of a
Stuck arms.
there's kind of a horror component to it.
Yeah.
Now the only thing that makes this work is if you imagine that the Telosians actually look somehow sort of different than what we're seeing, and that they're
couldn't they just
implanting
guess?
something different in our heads because they're humanoid. So how would they not know how most of the body parts go back together?
How do they
Even
not
if there
know
are
the
things we
destiny?
can't see that are different, like you don't know how like the neck and the head attach. It'd be like yours. I don't know.
Yeah, but also, like, I mean, depending on how old she was when they found her, you know, what kind of memories she would have of humans, what they looked like.
Right.
Yeah, but they would know what they had to work with.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you would look at that and be like, oh, okay, it's probably sort of like us. Like it's kind of weird. I also don't buy that as decrepit and deformed as she's supposed to be, that she's able to do some of the things that she does
Right.
in the episode. It's kind of hard to swallow that.
I I guess it's part of the illusion too. Maybe I don't know.
I was gonna say like I don't think it's
Piper's
enough to
right.
say it's part of the illusion, but maybe.
Well, considering what they do to Pike at the end here, I guess they have that ability.
Actually, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Forget
engine
forget what I said. You win.
I wonder what that flag is. I want to see it unfurled.
Yeah. Good call.
There's another one too.
Ooh.
He wasn't there the whole time. Yeah.
So, like I said, they get what they always wanted, but it actually doesn't do anything for them. So they're just doing it at this point out of the kindness of their hearts, I guess, because
Right.
this wouldn't help them procreate.
Right.
Because wasn't that the whole point in the first place that they were
I think
trying to
so. Yeah.
they were trying to get them to have offspring?
I think so.
And that's why they were trying to pair him off with some of the women on the ship too,
Right.
because they knew it wouldn't be enough to just have him
Right.
and Vina. And I don't know if that would even
And
work.
because he was rejecting Vina too, so they're like, "Well, let's try this person, these women."
But then when you get to the end, you can't help to wonder if they put her together in a grotesque fashion. Could she even have children?
Yeah. Well, they said everything works, so I
that's
guess
right.
everything
Yeah.
works.
How would they know that though?
I don't know. So apparently, Starfleet Command back at the Starbase has been watching this whole thing too. So they like, oh, we understand now. Also, I guess.
The highest levels. Yeah, because the Commodore was just an illusion, but he's there actually watching his...
He was back
Illusion.
at the Starbase watching it.
They're,
Yeah.
they're simultaneously beaming images to the Enterprise and beaming the Enterprise's images to the Starbase.
Right.
It's pretty meta. Oh, now I'm gonna wheel you out here.
Well, yeah. Let's get you down there.
Yeah, I don't think I put Menagerie on my top 10, but every time I see it, I'm always thinking, like, this is absolutely one of the best episodes of the show, and it should go on that list. But it's not one that I revisit a lot. It's just kind of brilliant the way they managed to tell a totally new story with that material that's, in my mind, as good as The Cage.
Yeah.
There was a line that they used at the beginning of this episode where they go, "The Spock of that time," because
Yes.
we're clearly looking at like a younger, way more
Yeah.
emotional Spock.
Yeah, and they already know that it's kind of weird to try to put those two things together.
Yeah.
But they don't call too much attention to it, so it works. And, like, how easy would it be for this to be yet another, like, guest star accidentally takes over kind of episode?
Right.
This is Spock's story. You know, it's loyalty and duty to a previous captain.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
Kirk
Pike
is privy to all the information of Talos 4.
Right. Which
And
point?
so is the Commodore. Like, it's never been known, and then all of a sudden they have this very privileged information. I think that's kind of fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't. I would assume it wouldn't be classified after that.
Perhaps not.
I don't know what the point would be, but I
Well, you
think
still
they
don't
still
want
keep
people
it on
knowing.
the books that, you know, it's a, that you'll get killed if you go there.
That would have been kind of
Which is pretty
interesting
ridiculous.
if they'd ever made a callback to that
Yeah.
in Next Gen or beyond.
I don't remember if there's any other place where they're like where they say that that's the one offense where that happens.
Yeah, I don't remember them ever mentioning really Talos 4 in any of the other series that I can think of.
Well, let's go ahead and rate the episode, shall we? We always rate on a scale of 0 to 4. 0 being, oh god, I never want to do that again, and 4 being, let's start this thing all over again. And this one we will rate as one episode. That's what we usually do with two-parters. And sometimes we'll watch two-parters where the second part is way better or way worse than the first. That usually worse. But so you know, it's fun to talk about that, but I usually like to rate them together as opposed to separately, as opposed to, you know, a rating for the first to the second. So let's go ahead and start with Adam. And
I actually had
you
this
guys
as
in
number...
the comments, feel free to go ahead and start giving your ratings and decimal points anywhere between 0 to 4 if you want to. Go ahead, Adam.
I think I actually had this as 4th on my TOS list that we did a while back, the top 10 list. So I think I'm going to have to give it a 4. It's the one I go back to a lot. I like how they really integrated it together and stuff.
I should be doing that. Yeah. Brandon, you want to go right?
I'm going to give it a. I'm going to give it a 3.5. I suppose, because it's. I definitely like these two episodes, and it's kind of fascinating to see, you know, what Star Trek, you know, how it started, like what the execs didn't go for, really, and but it's not my favorite, and I'll watch it occasionally, you know, but it's not one I'm necessarily going to pull out on purpose.
Yeah, I'm with Adam. I think that is a 4 caliber episode, and feels like a thing that doesn't need to be in 2 parts. I mean, Jason's complaining that he just watched The Cage, so it sucks to have to see all that footage again, and it does feel like a clip show. But as you would have experienced it at the time, I don't feel like they just kind of gummed it up with a bunch of material that they didn't need. And also, there's some stuff from The Cage, of course, that's taken out. You don't get all the stuff on the ship.
Right.
So like they were smart about what they left in and what they didn't. It is a complete story,
right,
in and of itself. And I guess, like I said that it's Spock's story while The Cage is Pike's. I guess because the Cage stuff is there, it's both, like, but it's not a dual protagonist story. It's almost like a non-linear thing where you're getting 2 stories simultaneously, where you need this other story as the backstory for this, and you have to explain it in the first place because it's a sequel to a thing nobody got to see.
Right.
So on the one hand, if you were never able to see The Cage and you saw this when it aired, you would be fully duped, I think, into believing that this thing was created as a singular story.
Right.
But then once you know the history of it, you can see how that never ever would have happened. And
right.
I wish TOS honestly had done more 2-parters.
Right.
But then I say that there's some episodes that are like pretty strung out and feel like they could have been done in 20 minutes that are done in 45 or 50. So I don't know.
Like the alternative factor.
Like, can you think of any TOS episode that feels like almost truncated and should have been in 2 parts, or just a concept that they did that you could have stretched into 2?
Not really.
Nothing's coming to mind. Like maybe Enterprise Incident, but even that, like,
right.
But yeah, so 4 for me as well. Tom gives this episode a 3. Stephen Murphy says 3.5. Jason gives it a 3, but a 2.5 if you just saw The Cage. Matthew Bass, 3.4 out of 4. Snuffles, 3.5, really great, but there are better in the series. HB Haga, 35. Or 35, 3.5.
I was going to say what?
A 35. It's just that good.
It's just a 35.
So anyway, so there we go. Thanks a lot for watching Star Trek Club tonight. Hope you guys had a good time with us.
I'm going to rate the next episode a 35.
Okay, Brandon.
Yeah.
I hope it sucks.
Well, that would be the joke, really.
Thanks a lot to everybody that put stuff on the wheel tonight. I really appreciate it. We've got a really stacked wheel with lots of good and mediocre and not so good episodes, so it's an eclectic assortment right now. And I think a really good mix, finally, of series. For a while, it was really, really Voyager heavy. Now we've got some more TOS on it. Yeah. There's still quite a bit of Voyager, but there's a little more DS9 than there was, and we've still got all the pilots. So hopefully one of those pops up pretty soon. Next time, I may just load it with the single parts and not put the two-parters there so that we're not doing that over 2 episodes or over 2 meetings. But I think for the foreseeable future, we'll kind of alternate back and forth. We'll do a meeting where we'll have more trivia in 1 episode and a meeting where we'll have 2. We won't always do, with the 2 episodes, meetings a 2-parter because we'll run out of those really fast if we do that. So next time we do 2 episodes, it'll probably just be... I'll probably put everything on the board, and if a 2-parter comes up, we'll watch it. But if not, we'll just do 2 singular episodes. So next week, we'll do some more trivia and 1 episode. And thanks again, everybody, for being here. And
Thanks
you guys
for
are great.
having me.
We sure appreciate it. Oh, sure, Brandon. I mean, you just show up, and I don't have the heart to tell you to leave, so.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Anyway. And then Adam just keeps calling, on the Skypes.
Stop calling Cat. No.
But anyway, well, thanks a lot, folks. We'll see you again next time. I was Captain Logan. That's Brandon Grimm.
It was.